You guys ready?
Yeah. Alright, so I just want to thank you guys for coming to my little presentation. It's about guest teaching or substitute teaching in low-income schools like JB Young. That's where I did my 451 clinical placement. We're going to start by, I just handed you guys your folders. You guys are going to take on the roles of a guest teacher within a classroom. So this is our classroom. We might have to share because we have limited space. But take on this like it's your classroom. I've just handed you all your packets that every guest teacher receives when they first walk into school. You just walked into your room. You have about 10 minutes to get everything planned ready so that you're going to be ready to teach once the students start coming in. You have to go with your lessons. So, do you have any initial questions right after that? You can understand this? Like I said, you guys are in pairs too, so you guys feel free to work with each other if you want. Like I said, go through and try and find everything you'll need to be effective as a guest teacher. Just take your time. There's stuff in the classroom. You guys can get your materials if you need to get ready. And good luck. You need it.
We're starting out with the first period.
Yeah, or whatever the first one's listed as, just assume that's the class you're going with.
Like this packet.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be your lesson plan for the day. So, for you guys, I believe it's fourth period. Yep. So, just assume you just came in, right after, 10 minutes left before fourth period. You guys start some third period, so make sure you guys go in, like I said, 10 minutes before third period.
When he says later to read to some, does that mean the first month after the passages? Or do we read the passages?
I don't know. Pretend I'm not here. Just think about it. Figure out what you need to do.
Call Carrie.
Want to call Carrie?
Crayons. I found crayons.
Yeah, so you can find your supplies, everything you need.
Is the drawing grade? Yes, it is. So you know where this is now.
Where'd you put crayons?
Drawing grid.
Oh, sorry.
They needed those things.
They
needed those things.
Oh, yep. You need it. Like I said, it's all chaotic just because. And believe it or not, this is like a well-organized classroom compared to what we've witnessed.
Assuming there's nothing put in there.
There's nothing inside that. Okay, I didn't put anything inside that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because. Yeah. But there's some other stuff that you might need.
Okay.
It's over there. Nothing's locked away or anything.
I love how none of this is together. Any colored pencils over there? I need colored
Well, it
pencils.
looks like we have 2 students.
Oh, some crayons. Yeah, I keep playing with crayons.
I can have lots of.
You know what they do, you know. Guess it's time for dinner.
Anything you notice on those lesson plans that might be problematic?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'm seeing things.
Yeah.
I'm just.
And those are literally some of those are actual I changed it a little bit, but it's pretty much verbatim.
Okay.
So I just changed some of the assignment names, but for the most part those are that's a lesson plan that someone left. And then all that stuff's the stuff everyone gets in the packet. But like I said, that the one sheet was the one lesson, and then there's the other one for art. And
it's
and the
odd.
white binder.
So that and the book box are right next to each other. The colored pencils I couldn't find, but we got crayons. Scissors, I have no idea what scissors are. There's a box that says scissors with no scissors. I was gonna say, I saw pencils. Yeah, there's a stack of pencils over here. Someone stole the scissors. The read to feed bookmark. Students must already have those. I'm assuming. The free draw. They probably on paper for that, yeah.
On first aid
Hopefully.
kit?
And if you guys can't find anything, can you just circle it or something that way? Like
Okay, yeah.
that way I know, because I have a list of things that weren't available. I just want to see what you guys came up with, what you could find. How you guys doing? Finding everything okay?
We're looking for a student list.
Your student list.
Yeah, it says you need to bring the student list. We'll bring in the students down the hall.
Class list.
Class list.
I don't know.
Is it on the computer? What's that?
Get it?
Okay. And then we need the treasure worksheet still.
The extra worksheets. All right, guys, a couple minutes if you want.
There aren't
Get
any
everything
extra
ready?
worksheets.
Students, we starting to come through the door.
I forgot that was on the first one. I walked up there. I think this is supposed to be the grade.
Treasure worksheet.
Shoot boxes.
That's hieroglyphs.
Yes. Well, sorry, I had to come up with names.
Well,
So.
it says finished, so maybe the students already have the worksheets.
Alright, guys, I'm gonna take on the role as a student, so I might just be coming in, like talking to you, asking questions. So just pretend like I'm a student in class and stuff, alright? Just for trying to create the scene, alright? A couple minutes, you guys can do everything. You got everything?
Sure.
Who are you?
Substitute for the day.
What's your name?
Mr. Westerberg.
Mr. Westerberg?
Yeah.
Oh. Where's Mr. Anderson?
He's out sick for the day, so he'll be back tomorrow. But today we're going to be doing stuff that we did yesterday too, so it's kind of good from there.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't here this week, so it's first day, so.
How about you go take a seat for now, and then I'll give you some instructions on the development.
Okay. Who are you?
Mr. Moser.
Mr. Who?
Mr. Moser.
Moser? Oh. Where's Mr. Smith at?
Out sick.
Sick. We were talking about summer earlier today.
Nah, he's out sick.
No, I saw him here today.
Maybe he
Where
had to
is he?
leave abruptly.
Maybe he got sick and had to leave by October.
Okay, what do you do? What are we doing today?
Same stuff we have been. You guys should have your worksheets already. We're gonna go through some articles and fill out a graphic
Oh,
organizer.
I haven't been here.
Well, I mean, it's just reading and filling out a graphic organizer. You can do it on your own.
Okay. So, you guys think you're ready? You guys want to start kind of go through things? Alright, so, I saw you guys kind of struggling with some of, finding some of the things. Was there anything you guys couldn't find, or you guys thought were in very inconvenient places?
Treasure assignment and extra worksheets and white binders.
Oh, the extra worksheets in the white binder? Okay. Did you guys have anything?
Colored pencils and scissors.
Colored pencils and scissors.
And we were just unsure about what students already had and what we were supposed to have, so there's a lot of question marks on our sheet.
Okay. One thing unsure about what students had?
Nothing.
Yeah. It's definitely a problem as being an outsider.
Uh-huh. Well, definitely. What did you guys say? You guys couldn't find some of the stuff? The
The treasures assignment,
treasures assignment. You couldn't find anything for it?
or the extra worksheets in the white binder.
Mm-hmm. using supplies. Definitely a big thing. There's some things I did intentionally leave out to try to get you. Did you see the treasurer's assignment right up there?
No,
See, it says choose a RAS book at your reading level, and then find the big idea and theme, and you fill it out.
and we also weren't sure that read to sell.
Read to sell.
They may choose to read to sell. When they're done, they must read to sell.
Yeah, like you said, you think it's the article, like the post test they had, or?
Well, no, it says to read the article to themselves, and then when they're done, to read to themselves.
What do you think you might need for that?
I don't know, personal books?
Personal book? Like maybe one of those over there?
Yeah.
See, just different things you guys might not have thought about was, did you guys find an attendance sheet by chance?
I didn't even look for one.
Didn't
No.
even think to look for one, did you?
We found it.
See, you guys found here, I intentionally didn't give you guys,
Okay.
keep that in mind.
That'd be a problem for sure as a substitute.
Oh, definitely, like I said, you don't know any of your students, you don't know how to take attendance. What was that?
You don't know any of their names then either, so. You're gonna pull one on you.
Attendance and students' names, we're gonna talk about this in a bit. Anything else you guys noticed that was either confusing, that you might not have been aware of?
You give directions for certain students to do certain things. Once again, we don't know the students' names. That says some students have already started their Greek drawings, others have not, but that's really general. And some students can, once again, pull your leg.
We have a similar issue. It says some students will not return after lunch. We don't know which ones, and that could just mean some students who don't feel like showing up, don't show up, and we think it's okay.
And by the way, Mary, your activity binder was over here, in the white binder. Just, did you guys have anything else that was
It's an A.
either, like you guys mentioned that the classroom seemed really disorganized, nothing was kind of in its like, it seemed like everything, like you have pencils over here, crayons over there, you have books over in the opposite corners, you don't know which books they are. Do you think, like I said, you guys kind of are familiar, do you guys think that'd be a problem? No.
Definitely, yeah.
And no, do not, or you don't know the classroom?
Assistant, yeah.
Good. Anything else? You guys can think of right off the top of your head, if not, if you guys would be alright, like, cause I kinda want, like, you guys each have different kind of lesson plans, if you guys wanna switch, you guys can just, cause I want everyone to kinda give an opinion of like different types of lesson plans that teachers could have.
You went through the whole packets.
Sure, yeah, just switch the whole package, everything kind of is similar except for the actual lesson plan, so. Now, to kind of like segue into the discussion, we're gonna talk about JB Young, the specific school that I worked with, get teachers in and kind of highlight some of the problems that you guys mentioned. I wanted to just take a moment to give you a little bit about JB Young. Eric, you're in our 451 class, so this is probably a little bit of a review, but for everyone who doesn't know, JB Young, it's located in Davenport, Iowa, just across the river. It's about 5 to 10 minute drive from Augie. It's a K-8 school, so it's recently K-8. It used to be just an intermediate 6 to 8, but in the last couple of years they turned K-8, so a large variety of students we're gonna have in. You guys might have observed there's a Nurtured Heart program, and it's the discipline policy that is implemented at JB Young. And what it is it's kind of it's based on a book, and what they do is they talk about it's about mostly positive reinforcement. So if you see like students doing a good job in class, they're following directions, you're supposed to continually give them positive reinforcement. So like Mary, you're doing a great job keeping your eyes on me and following along. Like I appreciate it. You're staying very focused, taking the big steps and being a part of your own learning style. Those are the kind of things. But then if we see a student slacking off, you know, you're supposed to say reset, Eric, reset. What they're supposed to do is immediately put their head down, and they're supposed to take about 2 to 60 seconds, think about what they did wrong, and then the teacher will recognize that, oh, Eric, you did a good job. Quickly getting your seat, putting your head in, you can come back up and join us back in the lesson. So this is kind of the idea. The students do not follow, like, do not reset. You're supposed to call down and they'll send a security guard up and they'll remove them from the class. Some more, just some more basic knowledge about JBN. There's high turnover rates for both the students and the teachers. The teachers is kind of, they work in the school, they try hard, and then they kind of get burned out. They might find a better position, the position they think is better. The students, there's high turnover rates mainly because of the poverty rates in the room. There's a lot of transient students. I believe, talking with Ms. Hug, my cooperating advisors, that basically about a third of the students either, like, they come in and out of the classroom within a year. So imagine if you have 24 students, by the end of the year you'll have 8 of them have gone and 8 new ones have entered your classroom throughout the year at random points in time. So just something to consider. Your students might not always be the same from day to day, week to week. 69% of the students are minorities, 90% qualify for free or reduced lunch, 20% of them have IEPs, and 30% of them fall in the tier 3 of the RCI model. So, like I said, this isn't like the perfect, on top of the hill school. This is, there's going to be some obstacles we have to face. Who was the guest teacher for today? Or for, it's period 34, I believe it's the English one? Who had the English class?
They were in English class. We have now.
Oh, okay. There might have been something in there that says about a slide, like put up a slide for the students to read. This was the slide that you guys were supposed to find and put up for the students to see. Like I said, not something you think about. You see, like, oh, slide, like you think if you write, like a teacher would kind of implement it for you. This is kind of the idea that, like I said, teachers kind of just put everything together last minute and think some of the stuff's going to be easy to find and teachers will struggle to find it. Well, we can take a moment to try and, these are some thoughts from substitute teachers I've interviewed. If you guys want, you guys can take a moment to read it over. Think about anything that you think might be important or that you guys have identified as important from your kind of little mini experience.
Last one, provide classroom map. That was definitely helpful here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because that saves so much time just looking for things. And then you can do a lot of the other things. You can save that time.
Is there an idea that the substitute would be long-lasting, like forming relationships to this?
Yeah, did you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, did anyone, either of you guys, when I was being the student, did you guys ask what my name was? Right? You just thought like, oh, like student, or like sir, can you like sit down in your seat? See, when that happens, especially in these types of situations, the students always want to form like a bond. They want to know you, and they want you to know them. If you can establish a name with me, they're like, oh, Michael, can you please sit down? I'm more likely to listen to you. But like when you're a guest teacher, you're just kind of going through the motions. You're trying to just manage the situation. Getting to know your students has been one of, like, from what I've seen, teachers that are constantly in the school, they form the positive relationships. Like, it makes so much of an impact. I know just from going, like, there's some class I had a chance to go in multiple times. The students almost wanted me to be in there rather than the guest teacher. Like, instead of, like, when they had a question, they're like, no, I want to talk to Mr. Z, not whoever the guest teacher was. Because I could associate with them. I knew their names. So I think that's one thing very important from what I've witnessed.
Could those, to follow up on Mary's class, or Mary's question rather, Mike, could those relationships form over time, if you subbed in the building frequently? I mean, could that have been the sub's point as well?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of another idea that I was thinking about in terms of like a long-term thing, like
Okay.
in terms of like a strategy you could use as a teacher. I think one thing that like a lot of the time when you're gonna be a sub, it's the last minute, either you're sick or some like expected emergency happened, you have to leave. I think one thing kind of from my experience was you kind of find your go-to substitute teacher. Find whether it be a friend or a colleague that you know. Find that substitute teacher that you can trust. They can always be the person that's in your classroom. Because students struggle with, like I said, their lives are changing every day. They want that consistency. And having that same person, if it's like, oh, I'm going to be the substitute every time that our teacher's gone, they can not only form the relationships, but then they can get used to the classroom setting. They know what's going to be expected. So, yeah, I call it the go-to sub, the substitute. because, like I said, you want someone who knows your classroom. Like, you guys had no idea where anything was, but if you've been here multiple times, you might understand, oh, like, the activity binder's always kept over there, or, like I said, the books that they read to self are right over there. If you have a chance to familiarize yourself with a certain teacher, it can really go a long way. Anything else you guys notice that might be a good or a bad thing?
I see letting students help out being a double-edged sword, because you have the students who legitimately want to help and get things moving along, and then you have the students who just want to stall for time and don't want to do any of the work that was planned out because they think they can take advantage of the sub.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have probably experienced this, like when you, like if you're kind of confused about a situation, you might ask the student for help. From my experience, it's probably like most of the time, they're willing to, you know, help you out. But I think you can normally catch on when students are kind of like, they're like, oh, I don't know, you know, I don't know what we're doing, or I haven't been a part of this. I think letting students, like I said, it's a good and a bad thing. It kind of depends on the situation. Well, another thing I noticed from letting students help, it kind of lets them feel part of the learning, you know? It's like, oh, it's like I'm helping take control of the class when my teacher's not here. Instead of it just being, I'm the dictator, I'm the guest or the substitute teacher. You're gonna listen to what I say and you have to follow my rules. Or let's say I'm like, oh, we're gonna do this article right here. And they're like, no, we're actually supposed to read that article over there. You might not know the difference because you haven't been working with the students. The students kind of normally have an idea, but, you know, like I said, it's a good and a bad thing. Anything else you guys think was important? Just need a moment.
Pictures of seating chart would be helpful for some of the, I feel like this is the math class where you have like Ricky Bobby do stuff, you know which student that is.
Yeah, because I could have easily been Ricky Bobby, right? If I said I wasn't, like, oh yeah, like if you ask me, oh, who's Ricky Bobby? I'm like, oh, I am. And spot on. You can kind of get an idea of your students.
Technology.
Technology?
Yeah.
Yes. Specifically, I know even when I came in here and I'm trying to set up my presentation, it took me 20 minutes to get the thing done. If you're a new teacher coming into the classroom, like I said, it might not always work as smoothly. And this is kind of, and the other thing I really think was very important, this was a kind of a little quote from one of my interviews from one of the guest teachers. Dumb it down. Be very explicit and like detailed. If you saw the art one, it kind of had a list of, here's the steps we're going to be doing today, here's kind of an overview of the class. Being very detailed in your lesson plans, I think, does more, you know, it benefits more than, you know, you might be a little overwhelmed, but dumbing it down and then always having extra activities, like an activity binder. That way, okay, like the lesson's not going according to plan, like the kids are not listening. It's like, here, I'll just give them some worksheets, let's just try to, you know, manage this situation so things don't get out of control. These are some, I guess, advice from students that I've interviewed too. One thing was be tough on the students, or they'll take advantage. Kind of like you said, if you're asking them for help, it'll be a, like I said, they can try to take advantage. Some of the students said, oh, like, be tough on the students. But then at the same time, some of them would be like, be fair. Don't be overly tough on the students. Don't be inconsistent. Don't be like giving, you know, like treating the girls nicer than the boys, or, you know, a student you might know, you let them slide with something, but the next student, you send them out of the classroom. To them, it's like, oh, you're going to be playing favorites, so you don't want to be a part of the learning. One of the things that students said, like, do not get mad when students try to help. Kind of, we've already talked about it. And then the next 2 points are follow the school rules. The resets work well because they're used to it. They're used to the thing. Then at the same time, they said don't do resets. So, because it's like childish. Do you guys think it's childish if you're an 8th grader and they tell you to put your head down? Yeah, it's like demeaning. It's like I'm saying like no, like, you know, you're a 5-year-old. I'm gonna treat you like a 5-year-old. It's not really.
Mike, were those opinions from 2 different students I'm taking it?
Yes, yeah. These are just like general claims that were made throughout my interviews.
Okay.
The one that said the resets work well was from the boys. The one that says be tough was from the boys. And then the be fair and the do not use resets were from the girls. So it might have just been a gender thing.
Interesting.
That's kind of, you know.
What age?
The boys were grade 6. We're just grade 6. The girls ranged from 6th to 8th grade. So.
Okay.
But it was normal. I mainly only had a chance to interview the older students. That's primarily who I worked with. Finally, most important, let students know when the substitutes are coming. you know, get them prepared. If you know you're gonna be gone from class that day, let them know, like, oh, Wednesday I'm going to be gone. Like, you know, get them prepared, so then it's like, okay, we're going to have a sub this day, so they don't come in like, who is this person? Especially when students, like I said, when they're gonna be missing a lot of class, some of the students in JV fall in that category, they might not be there multiple days, so you're gonna have to have a plan for when that's gonna happen. Okay, I want you guys to take, I guess, a couple minutes, you guys can think, you guys can talk with your partners, you can talk as a whole, come up, we'll do like a think, pair, share, I guess. Talk about some things you guys learned today, some things you might not have been aware of, and then some strategies you might think about implementing in your class.
It's gonna help your teaching. Yeah.
Make sure that there isn't any like.
It'll help your teaching, and it'll, if the organization's good for you, it's gonna help you, the substitute, and the students are gonna know too, so they're gonna help the substitute.
Anybody, like one of my students could do this.
Explicit.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe
Lesson plan for sub.
as
Do it like a
the role
lesson
of
plan.
explaining where resources are, because I feel like if I left a resource sheet, you can find this here, this here, and this here, and it's overwhelming. And you'd have to be searching through it to figure out where the things are that you
I almost kind of thought about it like having an emergency backup
So,
Yes.
I think we could have a
set up, like, you know, I'm gonna be sick. If I wake up sick, I'm not gonna wanna write a lesson plan at
Things
5
just
in the
don't
morning.
go well.
Go to this
folder, there'll be
It's like
something
having
in
an
it that you
emergency
can use.
lesson plan.
Maybe for like each unit, have like a.
I like that.
Or that won't be
And
that much.
leave a number.
I know at Rocky, they had to do practice with like the PSAE and all that stuff.
I don't know if that's what
ACT
carries,
practice
but-
stuff. So you could do one of those.
I like that they said where everything is, like the bathrooms and all this.
Did you have to fill out?
That was one thing
Every day.
backup.
I wish
I got it from Nelson.
probably.
Yeah, it was one,
I
it was
would've been
actually
thinking
his
about
teacher
in the
that had it. She's like,
classroom
oh, you
organization
go out
that-
and get this plate from my
Oh,
car.
yeah,
I did it
sure.
once.
And I went and grabbed it and
Here's
pulled
what
it
you
in.
have to start with.
Whoa, like, there's like thousands of
Yeah.
worksheets in there, just like,
Or even
I know there's gonna be times
So
when students
she's
have
like,
nothing to
alright.
do, it's like, and they'll get antsy, so like, I just came up with this, like, stuff I've collected, I'm like, this is genius. Exactly.
Tyler's playing, you don't always know. There's gotta be something.
Running into the closet, locking
It's
yourself.
gonna fall back on, right?
Yeah, absolutely, that's,
The students were.
You ever had to do a sub in your room at all?
This one, when I was there though,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to plan for it. My teacher had it, it was gone.
How did they go?
Alright.
There was something that I noticed.
you guys, like I said, you have no one to share, you guys think of some stuff, like, just some ideas, I heard some really good ideas, I just wanna throw them out to everyone.
Emergency plan, was what we said.
Emergency plan, absolutely, because like you said, you don't know, like, you could wake up in the morning if you're just, you know, you come down with like very bad food poisoning, you're sick, or something just comes up, like, you know, a family member died, you have to go quickly, you know, something could happen. So always have an emergency plan. And I like that you said, like, for each unit, so then it's not just like, you know, thinking of a math class, like, oh, we're doing adding and subtracting.
Or it can fit into.
Yeah, it would fit into the exact, you know, unit that you're talking about,
Yeah.
the specific one. Anything else you guys, I heard you guys talking about some stuff.
Insane amount of detail.
Absolutely detailed lessons, if you have a chance, you know. Like I said, I kind of, because of that. Always include more detail than you think would be necessary. Because even a lot of times, even when I was there were a bunch of substitute, like I said, they're just like, they're recent college grads, they haven't found a full-time job, they have no educational background, they're just kind of there, you know. It's almost just like a babysitter. So try to be as detailed as you can, and then always either have an emergency unit plan or just have a backup plan. Like an activity plan was a great one that we kind of talked about. Anything else that you thought was important, or any kind of strategy you guys think you want to use?
We said really have an organized room to the point where your students know where everything is, and it's not a secret. So when a sub can come in, the students can either guide or sub is competent enough to find everything. It's that clear.
Yeah, and I know I tell people all the time, I am not the most organized person. Honestly, this is kind of how my classroom would be set up if it was clean. But I think that is a good idea to always try to keep your room organized, so that way whenever someone comes in, it should be easy to find them. Like I said, kind of having a map, you guys said too, of where everything is. Would it have been perfect if it was like, oh, you know, crayons are over there, books are over there, student notebooks are over there. Would have made things a lot easier. You could have found everything in 30 seconds.
In addition to that, I thought it was really helpful, that it says where the bathrooms are, the staff lounge, like, if you're gonna go to the gym or the cafeteria, where is that to put the students? Instead of having to wander around and ask for the faculty.
Well, I have students in my classroom during the first few periods for a different class.
Oh,
Because a lot of times, like, there's classrooms you'll have, like, not just your own classroom, like, other teachers will have to come in and teach a class in your room. Is that happening? Because teachers need to know that.
Oh, yeah, just, and like I said, that really goes into detail of where you need to go. Some just school advice where things are at.
You know, to build on Mary's point too, Mike, I mean, go into it with the mindset that the sub has never been in the building before, right?
Absolutely.
They're an absolute stranger, they don't know what anything is, and be as explicit as you can going from there. Chances are that's not gonna be the case, but it might be.
Exactly. Alright, no, I think you guys really hit on a lot of the main ideas I had, so, like I said, it's a good job. I think kind of the whole reason I talked about guest teaching for this unit is it's something that's not really talked about, you know, like, we talk, when we're preparing for education, it's like, oh, we're trying to develop ourselves, get ourselves in the best situation, having like lessons that align to Common Core, you know, implementing behavior management strategies, et cetera, you know, learning our content, something, you know, that when a sub comes in, they might even know. We often neglect to think about, oh, what if I'm not gonna be there, you know? We always think we're gonna be here every day, we're gonna do, things are gonna go perfectly according to plan, but then that moment when, oh, a sub's gonna have to come, or I have to go to a conference, you just might be like, oh, all right, this lesson plan is really simple. A lot of times there's a lot of little things that are neglected, and I just wanted you guys to just take a moment to be aware of them, especially, like I said, in low-income schools. This is kind of where I did my unit on, because there's a lot more factors that go into it. Like I said, it won't be perfect. You're not gonna have those students that are like, oh, yes, a guest teacher, I'm gonna listen and follow directions. No, it's not gonna happen. All right, you guys have any final thoughts? Anything you wanna voice?
Mike and Eric, did you see subs struggle at JV?
Yeah, especially the older the sub.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was,
Age was good.
Interesting, okay.
especially the ones that try to be like very rude and like authoritative. They're like,
Mhm.
when students come in and they're, you know, they're like, they might be talking like, hey, you have to be quiet now. And then it's like,
Because that's the complete opposite of what the school is trying to do.
exactly.
Yep, that's a really good point. There was some, in my building, you always wanted to try to pick your sub, request a sub. Because there were subs that were notorious for being confrontational like that.
Yeah.
And boy, you stay away from those people at all costs. I mean, they could walk into the best class and there's gonna be a fight by the end of the class, you know, just because of the way they operate.
And that's one of the main problems that I experienced at JV was that, it's very difficult for them to find subs. They even have higher pay to try and improve, like,
Really?
draw people. Yeah, it's like $25 more a day or something.
Wow,
Each
no
day,
kidding.
yeah. So there's a lot of facts, but in that sense, there's still a lot of teachers that don't do good for their money, so they're not really there to want to help the students learn, in a sense. So there's a lot of, you know, I mean, and like you said about like subs struggling, there were multiple times I'd go into a classroom, the sub would just sit there and do nothing, and I'd almost just take over the lesson. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So, like, they're just like, oh, we'll sit back, it's a free day, and then stuff doesn't get done, so. Yeah.
I had a lot of subs.
What?
I had a lot of subs during student teaching.
Did you?
But they would just sit.
They're
Still, like, you could, I had a,
We can do it because we are
We're-
responsible for the
yeah,
class.
we had everything going on.
We needed the sub.
They had to legally be there.
Oh.
Oh, that's a dream for a sub, to walk in
Yeah.
as a student teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, it's kind of nice. when
Especially if it's a good student teacher.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it when the subs came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Depending on the sub, I had a few but there was one sub, she was actually younger, and she tried to be too buddy-buddy,
Hmm.
and the point was like kind of almost inappropriate. Like
Really?
saying things that was like, not really, just saying stuff like
Step
that.
over the line.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward.
Thank you
Nice
guys
job,
very
Mike.
much. All right,
Mary, thanks for coming.
Nice job, Laura.
This'll be your gig a year from now.
Yep,